Hello everyone, I'm Rohit Rajappan. As part of IEP assignment, I'm here to give a brief about the economic impact of COVID-19 in the world. We can say in short term, there is likely to be a sharp drop in consumer demand, but the demand for food and other medical uh, devices could be on the rise, whereas the consumer demand for things like apparels and other fashion accessories would be on a sharp decline. Demand would also fall due to other factors such as foreign buyers delaying or declining their orders, tourists, both foreign and local, canceling their trips and withdrawing their plans, and decline in the stock market would also erode people's wealth and their willingness to spend. Overall, domestic consumer demand will surely have a negative impact on production and employment. The drop in consumer demand may have a lower impact in manufacturing, where companies could, if they have access to credit, build up stocks of finished goods rather than reduce production and lay off their employees. However, the effects of small scale service sectors are likely to be dramatic. On the supply side, there are also likely to be disruptions in the developing countries as there may be shortages of imported raw materials and spare parts. However, there is likely to be less of a factor than in developed countries where long supply chains are a norm. Many developing countries do not have government run social safety nets. In times of need, people turn to their friends, family, and neighbors for help. To complement the private initiatives such as NGOs and other non government organizations, government needs to mobilize its own machinery, particularly those in the rural areas. However, the government is struggling to meet the rising medical care expenses. International organizations such as World Bank, Asian Development Bank, and IMF has already pledged more than 60 billion rupees, billion dollars to fight this menace. Government should also bring into play two major policy instruments at its disposal: the rate of interest and exchange rate. The central banks needs to cut interest rates and exchange rates. The central banks need to change the working formula presently to make corresponding decrease in interest rates and outstanding loans to consumers and other businesses. They should also encourage commercial banks to allow consumers and enterprises to delay their payments and at the same time increase liquidity in the system by reducing deposits commercial banks are required to hold with the central banks. Central banks and ministries of finance also need to recognize the devaluation of the currency and necessary items to keep them from falling. The government can also try and take advantage of the lower international oil rates. As mentioned above, these cuts should also be passed on to the consumers, particularly in industrial and commercial spaces. So, this is how these are some of the steps by which we could curb this economic slowdown because of COVID 19. Thank you.